As you see, they've got a neck on the floor. He's got his hand on her neck.
Straight out of Wales with the wind in his sails, he's tipping the scales, Silurian trails, revealing their names while he's lifting their veils. Public assails, no one exhales, won't read in the mail, it's not printed in braille, no bonus for sales, the light will prevail, he's telling the tale while he's hot on the trail, whole nother scale, he's hammering the nail, he's trolling and rolling the camera and showing the standard that's double, exposing the bubble, removing the muzzle, he's always got trouble, he's fighting the muscle and solving the puzzle, he's taking the fight and he's spreading the light and he's doing it right, taking dark as the night and he's making it bright and providing insight while he's flooding your eyes like a hair in the headlight.
Step back, please, don't be arrested. Step back. The press, don't even pick on me. Are you watching this? The press aren't allowed to film.
Injustice is served, collar crime is submerged. Don't be absurd, your vision is blurred. He's seen it occur, so right there on the curb. His iPhone record, he's filming the herd. BLM thugs act like cons high on drugs. They wrecking the place, they're smashing the face. He's in with the thick, in with hammers and sticks, exposing the truth, he's showing the proof. He's trolling and rolling the camera and showing the standard that's double, exposing the bubble, removing the muzzle. He's always got trouble, he's fighting the muscle and solving the puzzle. He's taking the fight and he's spreading the light and he's doing it right, taking dark as the night and he's making it bright and providing insight while he's flooding your eyes like a hair in the headlight.
You just don't want to see it there. You just don't want to see the violence. You don't want to see the violence on some of those people. 3 people on a woman.
Support for the vets, pray unless we forget the pain he besets and the truth he projects. He's a victim of threats, but he never regrets. Live stream the upsets, no printing gazettes. He's taken the test, got the pedo's address. No south, east or west, he streams the protest. No news is suppressed, the whole truth is expressed. Twin standard he tests, he's facing arrest. He's trolling and rolling the camera and showing the standard that's double, exposing the bubble, removing the muzzle. He's always got trouble, he's fighting the muscle and solving the puzzle. He's taking the fight and he's spreading the light and he's doing it right, taking dark as the night and he's making it bright and providing insight while he's flooding your eyes like a hair in the headlight.
There's 4, 5 or 1. There's 2 on a girl. They pinned her to the floor. This one's getting a bully boy tactics, must from the TSG probably. Sergeant, yeah.
Good evening all. Welcome to the Real News Live News on a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. I've got a few good guests on tonight, 3 in total, all from the PCP organisation, folks. So a bit about last week. It was pretty quiet. I went down to the camp. I did spend a night away on the Thursday night as well down in Bream. Brilliant quiet weekend I had. So I'll probably tell you more about that later on in the show when I close. And we're going to be talking about PCP Wales and sex education in Welsh schools, maybe about English schools as well. And we're going to be talking about PCP Wales taking our Welsh Government to court, folks. So could you please all share first? Please all share. And I'll share this as much as I can. Okay, I'm going to bring on my guests. I'm going to bring on Kim first. Evening, Kim. How are you doing? Can't hear you. Don't mess about. Don't mess about. Don't mess about. There's no sponsor silence here.
Listen now.
I'm going to bring...
I just raced up the motorway 45 miles an hour in that rain just to get on this show for you. Brilliant. So a little bit more gratitude wouldn't go miss.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I'm going to bring Lucia on now. She's from PCP Wales as well. And she's an accountant and she does a lot of the groundwork doing demonstrations as well. Evening, Lucia.
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. You didn't rush up the motorway, did you, to get to me?
What's that, sorry?
I said you didn't rush up to the motorway to get to me, did you?
No, I've been home all day. I've been basically shackled to my desk all day today, so I didn't really have to go far.
All right. I'll bring on Stacey now. She's from Sheffield. She's got a small group up there as well. And she's following the PCP girls quite closely because obviously what affects them, what affects the English will depend on what happens in Wales. Hello, Stacey. How are you?
Hi. Hi, everybody. Good evening.
You right over here?
Hi.
All right. We're going to start off with Kim, and I'm going to ask the usual question. What does your organisation stand for, and why are you taking the Welsh Government to court?
Well, our organisation does exactly what it says on the tin, the Public Child Protection Wales. So we've pretty much taken responsibility for the protection of children in Wales, because our governments have been failing them since time. So now we've decided that somebody needs to take responsibility, and that's what we are doing. So our main fight right now is fighting the RSE. It's called RSE in Wales, Relationship, Sexuality, Education. It's called SRE in England, RSHP in Scotland, or RSHE. But it's actually CSE, it's Comprehensive Sexuality Education, which all 4 UK governments signed up to on the same day, the 1st of March 2017. So what we've seen is a staggered effect on this. We've seen some lesson content in England and lesson content in Scotland. There is some legislation to be concerned about in England, but that's a bit complicated and technical to go into. I'll go into it if you want me to, but if you don't, I can just skim past it. But what we're basically looking at here, guys, is what tends to happen with this education. You'll get some lesson content. Parents will eventually become aware of it. The parents kick off. And then you get this piece of legislation that legislates this education then. And that's what we've got in Wales. So we haven't got the lesson content yet, but we have got the legislation, a radical piece of legislation, which we're all going to be having the same of. So our legislation here is sex education from age 3 to 16 with no parental opt-out, no say over it whatsoever. It is not a single lesson. It is right away across the curriculum in every single subject, wherever they can bring it in, they're going to bring it in. So to cut the long story short, we're in a little bit of a mess.
And so how long do you think, well, this is really important for every single parent and every single child, actually, for the next, well, it is important because at the end of the day, it's what they're getting taught in school, what I'm bothered about. And I'm also bothered about the opt-out. There isn't one in Wales. And where there is one in Scotland and England, but it's not much of one in Scotland or England, actually.
Actually, England haven't got an opt-out, but what happened was about 2 years ago, there was, they did protest against this legislation, and they brought in a policy. It's what I keep referring to. You might have heard me say this. England had a false victory. So they brought in a new policy. So you look at the guidance for that, and it says you can remove your children from the sex element in primary schools. But that's only a policy. Okay, the legislation means you've got no opt-out. It's as simple as that. So that policy, they can change overnight. That policy is no different to a smoking policy. Like a smoking policy in work, you've got to smoke in our shelter, then you change it, you smoke out the back. It's as simple as that. Policies chop and change all the time. But the legislation, actually, they have no opt-out. So when they choose to revoke that policy, that's when England are going to really feel the pinch then. Scotland, they are just about to go into consultation on this thing. So they are fetching the legislation. So we're looking at about 2 years for the legislation to come to Scotland now. But by that time, the kids would have already had these lessons 6 years. So we all need to act now. We all need to act fast. This is not a Welsh, English or Scottish issue. This is a UK issue, and we all need to come together on it.
And what are your thoughts on this, Lucia, as well? Regarding,
just on the... Are you talking about, like, what are my thoughts on the whole sort of education?
Your thoughts on what content you're actually teaching the children. I'm
absolute. Do you know, I've been looking into this now. Obviously, I first met him back in July 2020, and ever since I've been researching it. Even today, I still get I'm horrified. I'm absolutely horrified. They really do. Like every single part of this, like firstly, it's sexualizing children. It's encouraging children to be empowered by doing sexual things. It's so wrong. It's even wrong for teenagers. You know, you don't empower teenagers to go around sort of being sexually free. It's not the right message anyway, even for the older children. But for young children, they shouldn't be exposed to it anyway. The ideology part as well. Now, remember as well, because it's embedded in every single, well, most of the subjects across the curriculum, children are going to be in school for what, 5-6 hours a day, and they're just going to have all this stuff drummed into them, whether it be maths lesson, English lesson. They're going to have, you know, the flags out, the ideologies out. Now, you know, we don't touch much on the sort of the trans and the ideologies, but, you know, if you look at the amount of flags there are out there, the amount of genders, you know, is there 102 sexualities? And they're going to be wanting to bring this into the schools. It's so confusing for even us as adults. Now, you're going to be teaching children from the age of 3. Now, children up until the age of 7, if you tell them something is fact, then they will believe that. So now they're going to be teaching children from age 3 about all these different ideologies, all these different genders, and also that they're sexual. And they are going to, you know, they're going to bring this stuff in about sort of sexual pleasure. These are your genitals. This is your scrotum, you know, all this. And, you know, your gender's not assigned by birth. So it's going to get them thinking, you know, if all this was out when I was younger, I'd probably be a man by now, you know, because I was such a tomboy as a child. So I find it I find it horrifying. I can't believe that so many people are still supporting it. I can't believe it. I know teachers are in a bit of a difficult position because, well, I say a difficult position. A lot of teachers haven't got all the information. They're like, it's not that bad. We don't know what you're talking about. A lot of teachers, they've got no idea. They've probably just had little bits here and there. They're all convinced that learning the correct terminology of your genitals is a way of safeguarding, which is absolute nonsense, as I've come to know. You know, obviously, Kim being a criminologist, and she, you know, she understands about models of offending, etc. So, you know, a lot of teachers, they have very basic safeguarding qualifications, very basic. Because I did the same safeguarding course, which was just a couple of hours online. I did the same safeguarding course as a teacher would do. That's level 2. And really, it didn't really tell me much at all. So now we're going to have all these teachers that are meant to be teaching the children safeguarding, when in fact they're going to be sexualizing them, and it's horrifying. I just can't believe it's been allowed to come this far, to be honest. Yeah,
what I've actually seen in the newspapers and stuff like that, and the research you've lot have done, it's regarding a child of 5 can decide on their gender, and they can go to school, and they don't have to even tell their parents, and that is the worrying thing. That you
ever tell a young child to keep secrets from your parents. You never tell them that. That's the worst. That's exposing them wide open to being abused. You never, like your children. Do you know, I'm just going to change the subject slightly, because my daughter, when she was in year 6, so that's the top year of primary school, they had the teacher sort of addressed the class and said that if there was any bullying or they were concerned about anything in school, to come to them and not tell their parents. Now, I don't know if they said exactly that, but that's how my daughter perceived what was said. Now, I was pretty angry with that, because I thought, well, whether you're dealing with something or not, whether the school's, if my child is being bullied, whether or not the school is dealing with it, she should never, ever be told not to tell her parents. I should be told, So, even something like that, I was horrified. But the fact that they're now encouraging children, saying things like, oh, well, if your parent isn't happy with you changing your gender, then that's okay. We'll have a change of clothes in the school. This is already happening in some countries of the world, and that is horrifying, really, really bad. And it's an example of them breaking up the family unit as well, because parents should always be involved in every aspect of their child's life, especially when we're talking about young children.
Well, most parents don't have children for the state to bring them up. most people have children so they can raise them themselves and instill good values and morals. That's the vast majority of families. So, everybody supports inclusion, everybody supports safeguarding, but inclusion and safeguarding is more than a word.
Yeah.
That's what people need to realise. It's far more than a word.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts, Stacey, on
Well,
the sexual age?
Well, I've got a 23, 21-year-old, Marnie and Micah, 6 and 7. And the difference from what they was taught to what these are being taught is absolutely crazy, like two different worlds. And that's worrying. I want my children to be brought up the same, and I've got no choice in it now. I have, because I've fetched them out of school. I've had no choice but to fetch them out of school. Obviously, it's not ideal. I don't want them to be at home, homeschooled. It's not ideal at all, but I've got no choice. I've heard a story today. I've had a phone call off a lovely guy today wanting some information on the RSE because his friend, it's a devastating story, his friend has found pictures on her phone. She's married to this guy. He's got 2 children. She's got 2 children. Her daughter's 6, his son's 9, and she's found content on the phone where they're up to things. So she's literally seeing things unfold already and reaching out for where it's coming from. And I'm sending her content, obviously, with what I know. But it's literally, I'm hearing stories all the time now. It's unfolding before my eyes, and it's so scary.
And I'm glad that you've said that, because this is something that we keep hearing a lot of. That's called peer-on-peer abuse. So we keep hearing we need to have this education because of peer-on-peer abuse, right? Let me just tell you something for nothing now. Those kids did not come up with those activities on their own. It's a fact. It's come from somewhere. It's come from something they've seen or something they've been told.
Yeah.
That, do you know what I mean? There's too much information. There's too much knowledge there. Therefore, that information has come from an adult, whether it's directly or indirectly. So what are we going to do? Are we going to teach those kids how to have sex? Or are we going to sort the adults out? Put a few restraints on the adults, give the adults a bit of training, a bit of education, a bit of knowledge. But this is what we see they think this RSE, because of this peer-on-peer abuse, they think this RSE is going to change things. It is not. Because show and tell turns into go and do. And I'm speaking now as an additional needs mother. I'm speaking as a kid that just did the total opposite myself to what anyone said. And even as an adult, up until this RSE, you would regularly find me on Facebook. If everyone else said black, I'd be proven it's white. That is just who I am. There's lots of people out there like me. There's lots of kids out there like me. This education is dangerous in their hands. Plain and simple, dangerous in their hands.
I've had a few people contact me over it.
So we get told about this peer-on-peer abuse, and this is why we need this education. But nobody's talking about the adult on child abuse. Nobody's talking about the abuse perpetrated by teachers. Because that's on a massive scale as well. So we're going
into these jobs for that reason now, aren't they?
Well, this is it. They're drawn to the jobs, and so we got Stacey there saying she's taken her kids out of school because she had no choice. This is the issue. There is no choice. There's no options.
I've had the police. I've had threats with social services. I've had the head teacher. I've had meeting after meeting. I've met the RSE teacher, and they haven't got a clue what's going on. A lot of them haven't got a clue. I even asked the RSE teacher, is she familiar with where the data's coming from? Does she know Alfred and Kinsey is? She didn't have a clue.
No.
So I'm like, wow, that worries me. And I said, can you just go and do some research and I'll come back and have another meeting? It never happened. They're not. No. I think they scared themselves to what rabbit hole it leads you down.
There's a lady in North Wales that I think her name is Judith Roberts. So all the correspondents in North Wales now, they've all said that Judith does the RSE. So this Judith actually came on our post on a PCP page. And she said, this is nonsense, la, 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 la. I use UNESCO, la, la, la. I'm a registered nurse, la, 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 la. Have you ever taught RSE? What do you know about teaching RSE? I said, I know absolutely nothing about teaching RSE, Judith. But what I do know is And I gave all my credentials, everything I do now, and I really went to town on her. And I said, so don't you dare stand there and tell these parents that education safeguards when you've got no credentials to say so. You haven't got a clue yourself. So don't you dare tell these parents that safeguards, because you've just lied to them. And she hasn't come back. And this is a registered nurse of 20 years, has been teaching it 2 decades. So where are you now, love? Where are you now? Because you haven't come back to us. This is not, people think, oh, this is, we don't want our kids taught sex education. Grow up. Absolutely grow up. I was on a page yesterday on Facebook, RSE teachers, and they were commenting, how can I speak to these parents about correct terminology? The comments throughout there, right, they were like, oh, what you'll find is, a lot of the time, the parents, it's their own trauma, la, la, la. Just tell them it's safeguards, it'll be fine. So I said, don't you dare tell them it's safeguards. I said, how do you know those parents aren't criminologists, aren't working with sex offenders? How do you know those parents do not know more than you? How do you know those parents are not rewriting your training? Because I can tell you with no uncertainty at all, the correct terminology, you have just given perpetrators a pass. They all know the password to their private areas now. That is no different to putting their name on their jumpers. None whatsoever. So I have had 3 replies. I haven't checked them yet. I will be going back to them. But their whole attitude towards parents is probably just going to be their own trauma. Just tell them it's safeguards. What?
That's unbelievable.
What? You
and they're actually
say it's safeguards. Who said it's safeguards? Who said? So the thing is now, if you're on a zebra crossing, right? You're on a zebra crossing now, and there's cars flying past. Get across the road is safe. Keep you safe. No, the zebra crossing does not keep you safe. When the traffic stops, you're safe. But just because they told the zebra crossing safe, well, you can walk across it anyway when there's cars coming. No, you cannot. Saying something's safe and actually knowing it's safe is 2 different things. 2 completely different things. And when you don't know something about a topic, you can't discuss it. Do I discuss the finances in the organisation, Lucia?
No. Well,
because I haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even try. And that's
we have a chat, but
and that's just the way it is. We got people saying this stuff. They talking about things they don't understand just because someone's told them. It's not good enough. It's children. We're talking children, sex abuse, exploitation. It's just not good enough. It's simply not good enough. And unless you know about something, please stop leading these parents up the garden path, because it's not fair. It's not fair to children.
The thing is as well, they're taught it's like a copy and paste, isn't it? They're literally just regurgitating what they've been told. And that's what we, even when we're sort of speaking to people online as well, it's the people that are supporting this are just regurgitating, I don't know, something that they've seen on the RSE code or something. And, they don't even know what they're talking about. I've got to say that previous to meeting you, Kim, there was a lot of things. I was pretty disgusted anyway, because I thought, this promotes promiscuity. That's the way I seen it. I didn't realize how deep it went, sort of how far back it goes, age 3. But I was horrified that they were encouraging, young sort of teenagers to sort of be like really, free in that. I didn't agree with that anyway. But like, obviously, you have got about a decade of study behind you, even more than a decade, so you sort of like understand these documents inside out, things that I wouldn't have pulled up. You drew my attention to it, and a lot of teachers are in that mindset. They will not pull things up. They're told this safeguards, this is good for children, and they're going with it, and they're listening to exactly what they're being told. And they need to be using their brains more, basically. I
think they're treating us like we the enemy as well. We want to make the teaching environment nice, friendly, safe. We don't want to come up against loggerheads with teachers, because let's be honest, and I've spent a lot of time in schools because I got additional needs kid. let's be honest, teachers think they know it all. They do, right? If there's a child in our class that's far more intelligent than the teacher, that child usually sees the corridor, let's be honest. You know, and you've got to break through that kind of attitude and that kind of barrier. When the truth is this, teachers are very lucky. A lot of teachers have gone to college, university, then they've gone to teach. They're very lucky, very fortunate. They don't know things from ground level. You know, I'm not saying none of them would have experienced trauma, because I know a few people who've had a traumatic childhood and still managed to do college and university. So I'm not saying none of them would have experienced trauma. But, you know, the people that have experienced trauma, very few of them get to college and university by the time they're 21. Do you know what I'm saying? So where's the life experience? Where is the life experience? There is none, you know, and then we got these people then, they got this criteria to meet, these documents to fill in. They're in charge of additional needs. They're in charge of safeguarding. You know, they are not trained for it. They've gone to school, they've gone to college, they've done a degree in geography or whatever else. You're a geography teacher, mate. Stick to your geography lesson. Let us deal with the safety of these kids, you know?
Yeah, I personally don't think they've been trained in the sex ed anyway, do you mean? And,
we know they haven't. We know they haven't.
The RSE teacher was in her 20s, early 20s at that, who I had a meeting with. She was
how would you know at that age? Really?
There you go.
Well, there was a girl with us, and she was in a college, and she had to do a couple of hour course to become the condom woman. And that, honestly, she was saying this in the Caerphilly group the other day, to become the condom woman. And they don't ask what you want the condoms for. Are you in a consensual relationship? What's the age of your partner? They don't ask nothing like that. Do you want condoms? Yes, I have them.
Wow.
And that was just on a couple of hour course, you know, and she was dealing with people her own age. So she was actually a student herself at the time. And she became the condom woman for the whole college.
That's absolutely frightening, that is. Absolutely.
They've got a course. There's a course in a university, and it's £500 to do this course. And I was going to do it myself, just to say I'm an RSE specialist, just so I could be like with the teachers. I got that certificate too, you know. But you know that the RSE specialists, what happens is they go into their session, they get told this stuff on the screen, they go back and they relay that information. There's no questions, there's no critical thinking, there's nothing there, nothing at all. Whereas I am like, when I'm in a lecture, something like that, I always ask the most ridiculous questions, because my brain is trying to take it in. I want to know how, where, what, why. But in these courses, these training courses, you simply go in, you get something presented to you on a PowerPoint, and off you go. You're trained. Where's the independent research? Because when there's independent research, it doesn't matter how well you've researched, you've actually done some research.
Yeah.
Do you know, you have enhanced your own knowledge, because half the time in these courses as well, they're like this.
It's about memory. That's all it is.
What they're doing in the course, they did on Facebook.
Yeah.
I should know. I've done it myself. I used to go to courses all the time in the youth offending team just for the certificate. I'd be like that. I did the level 3 safeguarding. I swear down, I did the level 3 safeguarding in my garden with my eyes closed. And I just had to open my eyes every time I come to the end of the slide to press next. Didn't I, Lucia?
Yeah.
Sat up then, done the test. I had the certificate 2 days later. That's safeguard leave.
And it was basic, wasn't it? Really, it was basic stuff. And the problem, like, you know,
it was actually wrong. Anyway, it was actually wrong. So this training, right? This training now covers the whole of the UK, but we got devolved governments. So that means the policies are slightly different. Even if they are the same, they're in a different document and they say something, they're called something different. So this UK training now, it only covers England. But essentially, I've done that England training now. And if I didn't know anything about devolved powers, right, I can go into a school in Wales thinking I'm trained.
Yeah, but you're not, because you're trained on the English. Yeah.
I'm trained on England's policies and nobody knows no different.
Wow.
Nobody knows no different.
No.
But that's the training.
So
All
you-
along,
you-
policies, all along wrong system, but you've been trained.
right, we know that you three have done your research on that. Where does this research come from? And
What do you
where's all this research for the sex education come from?
The Kinsey Institute.
The Kinsey Institute. Do you want to tell the viewers a little bit about the Kinsey Institute and how
So the
you got
Kinsey
to-
Institute was actually funded by the Rockefellers and Hugh Hefner. The Kinsey Institute was set up off the back of Alfred Kinsey's research. So Alfred Kinsey was first off a zoologist. He did a lot of work in bees. So that's how he got a really good name for himself, because he was a good scientist. But he had sexual fantasies. He was very, he used to do some sick things to himself. He had problems within himself, and he became infatuated with paedophilia. So what he did was he claimed to do a lot of research on homosexuality. That's his claim to fame. It was research on homosexuality. But when you actually look at the research, we've got the book here as well. When you actually look at the research, what he had done, he had taken a small group of individuals to conduct this research on. So it wasn't the American male population. It was a small group of paedophiles, rapists, sex offenders, people in prison and things like that. So what they actually did, they molested children. And in the human behavior of the sexual male, the youngest child they molested was 5 months. And then a couple of years later, they did another book, The Human Behavior of the Sexual Female, and the youngest child in there was 2 months old. So this is all documented. And then there's something called the Kinsey Report. So that is an infusion of both books and both data. So before you just take my word for this now, go on to YouTube, type in Secret History, Kinsey's Paedophiles, and then you'll hear them telling you themselves. You'll hear them laughing every time they say the word paedophile. So this is where it's actually come from. And people say things, oh, but that was years ago, that was years ago, that was years ago. It is the same research they're using, okay? This says the basis for it. So we have the Kinsey Institute off the back of that. The Kinsey Institute are now directly advising UNESCO. Now, I could take you down the route, tell you about CICAS and IPPF as well. There's no point doing that. I've only got an hour. All you need to know is the Kinsey Institute are advising UNESCO. UNESCO are dictating the education in the UK. That's all you need to know there. This research is being collected now to this day via a mobile phone app. You can download the app yourself. I've done it. I filmed myself going in there. I want to look at what it said. So this app now is supposed to be in America. The age of consent is 18. This app has age ranges. The age range is 20 and over, 20 and under. So are you telling me the 20 and under, they're just collecting data from the 18 and 19-year-olds? No, they are not. Anyone under the age of 20. The section on porn, I went into the section on porn, and there is actually a section in there called child modeling. Okay, so that's the section on porn. Then when you look at the terms and conditions, there is one tiny little paragraph, and all it says is, this app is not for children. If we find out some of this data is from children, we may delete it. We may delete it. So you could say, oh, this was years ago, we've changed, we don't do that anymore. That's wrong, they're still doing it.
They still got the app.
Two, if you watch that documentary, they will tell you themselves. The FBI wanted that information of Kinsey, and he said he'll burn it before he gives it over. Now, the Kinsey Institute have all this data in a file that if the police went there, in a click of a button, it'll all wipe out. Again, do not take my word for it. Go and watch the documentary. Listen to them tell you themselves. This is very important. This is not our words. Everything that we are saying, we are repeating.
Yeah.
Not making up.
So what's the documentary?
Secret History, Kinsey's Paedophiles. And it's a Channel 4 documentary, and it's from 2011, Lucia?
I think so. Yeah.
So you need to watch. That's only an hour-long documentary, but please watch it, because those guys, when you've got a bit of academic work, this is how it works, guys, right? You've got a bit of academic work. You're doing a piece of academic work. You can't write something down because it's your idea, or because it's what you think is good, or it's because what makes sense. You've got to write something down, but you've got to reference it from somebody who did it before you. So this is where we're at now. We've got Kinsey's work that's been referenced by so many academics of those pieces of work and more pieces of work. Of those pieces of work and more pieces of work. So this research hasn't stopped. It's gone into loads of different documents and loads of different fields. And we also had Kinsey referenced in a 1998 sex education document here in the UK as well. So this research hasn't been ripped up. It hasn't been discredited, because if it had been, you have to get rid of all the research. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, I actually did a piece of work now just before Christmas, and it was called To Which Extent is the Educational Environment a Risky Space? I used some of that research to reference my research. Do you know what I'm saying? So although it's from the 1953, I'm still using his work in my work now.
Well, that's how people do research, isn't it?
So it is absolutely everywhere. But it doesn't come from, you can't just say, oh, I've just done this now. It comes from somewhere. So his documentation has spread across the world like wildfire in the name of homosexuality, in the name of gay rights, when we know, when you look at the book yourself, that was not how they were started. That was not their objective. Their objective was always to do with the children.
It's absolutely sick, it is. So what are we going to do about all this as parents and grandparents this year?
Well,
we have to rise.
As you all know, I don't know if you all know, but most people know that we've got some great claimants that are going to be taking the Welsh Government to court. We've done a lot of work in the background with regards to this. We've got a top class legal team that are working on it. So we're feeling really, really optimistic about this. But although we are optimistic and we really feel that, we're going to go far with this, we do need everyone and their dog to be shouting from the rooftops, to be there supporting us, to be raising awareness regarding this. There's still a lot of people that don't know about it. There's still a lot of people that do know about the education, but don't realise the history of it, the aim of what this education is about. There's a lot of people that are still very much left in the dark. And yeah, of course, we are going to have people supporting it, because there are some real sick people out there. We've seen it on social media, haven't we, Kim? We've seen people, people who were actually saying, teachers saying they're looking forward to teaching their young pupils about pleasure-based sex. Now, we've got some really strange people around. We've got parents in this country, maybe not necessarily in Wales, but in the UK, that don't tell their child what gender they are until they're old enough to decide for themselves. We have got, obviously, there are, the world, it takes all sorts. But the vast majority, when they know about this, let's get it out there. Everyone must know about it. You do not want your 3-year-old coming home, showing them some vulgar homework that they've been set. So, it's up to us now as parents to all rise together. Even if you haven't got kids, if you've got grandchildren, nephews, nieces, or your friends got children, this is about the future now of the kids. Because if we let this carry on the way that the Welsh Government wants it to carry on, then we're pretty much going to be, looking at a future generation of deviants, because that's what this education is.
Sexual deviance.
Yeah, it is. It's awful. It's really, really bad. So yeah, we do. We all need you behind. We need you all behind us.
And it's not a case of, oh, right, Wales are going to win this for the Welsh kids. Guys, this is a UK fight. This is a UK fight. England, you were kicked out in a technicality when no one knew. Scotland, you've got 2 years consultation. Your kids have been having this for 4 years. Can you wait another 2 years to do something about it? Wales, it's time to rise. This is where the war is at. The war is on our children globally, you know? So we need to use this small pocket of the world to erupt, okay? Why have they kept the Celts to last? Because they knew heads would roll. They knew heads would roll. Now, come on. We got to get up and we got to get at it. People say, it's misinformation. Lucia just told you, we got a high-profile barrister. That misinformation is our evidence. A high-profile barrister is not going to take misinformation into the High Court. Okay, the High Court. Well, that's what I got on my lap here. I've got. This is our actual file.
Woo!
Look, and I'll show you. I'll just cover the names for that. This is our
actual file.
This is going to the High Court, and like this is it, guys. This is our opportunity, but we need money to get in there. Now, if we can get 100 grand to get in there, we will run rings around them. We're not going in for a win because we know it's a corrupt system, but the truth will be out there. The court is a public area, okay? You can be in there. You can be reporting on everything that happens in there. We'll be reporting restrictions on some of the claimants, right? But you can be in there. You can hear the truth come out. It doesn't matter what the ruling is at the end of the day. You'll hear the truth come out. We've all got it. Guys, if there was a load of people in Cardiff, the judge, what's the judge going to do then? Doesn't matter what the judge does because we can stop it, right? This court process is just a small part of it. But this is our way of proving what the government did to us, what the government did to all 4 countries. Because my statement states quite clearly that they did this to all 4 countries. My statement ain't just about Wales. My statement is about this global sex education that they've brought into our small pocket of the world, guys. And it's going to take this small pocket of the world to save the kids in the world. We've got to do it. Why did they keep us to last? Because they knew. They knew what would happen. Now, come on, guys. Let's not disappoint the little ones, right? We need to stand up and we need to show them exactly who we are.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you're a teacher as well and you're receiving a bit of, you're going to be getting training or content now in the next couple of months, because obviously the deadline is September 2022. At the beginning, I don't think they're going to come in hard and fast. So it's not going to be, it's not going to look, hugely, really bad at the start. It'll still be bad if you understand what's going on. But if you don't and you're completely left in the dark, you're going to think, oh, okay, not too bad. But it's going to come in bit by bit. It's going to get a little bit more sinister as you go along. And then if you decide, whoa, I'm not teaching this. No way, I'm not teaching this. What do you think that is going to happen to you? Do you think they're going to keep you on and say, oh, okay, we respect you? No. Because there's plenty of woke teachers out there waiting to take your position. So it's going to be too late then, which is why you need to all act now.
Well, think about it, right? They have actually legislated against parents. They've legislated take away parental opt-out for 3-year-olds' education. Isn't that bad enough? They've legislated to take away your parental right and opt-out over your 3-year-olds' education. So you haven't got a say in their maths. You haven't got a say in their English. You haven't got a say in their history or geography. That's bad enough in itself. You should have a say in what your kids are taught, right? Plain and simple. But let me just reiterate this. You haven't got a say in the sex education your 3-year-olds are taught. So the fact they've taken away your parental opt-out and your parental choice and say and wishes over how your child is educated. Hello, we're talking about sex as well, mind. Come on, they shouldn't even get this far. We shouldn't even be waiting for it to come in the classrooms. We should be waiting outside the classrooms with a bloody pitchfork.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick Tom has just said uproar in some schools and teachers don't want this to be taught, and some unions are involved as well. Some teachers' unions are getting involved as well because some teachers don't want to be teaching this.
If there are teachers getting involved, we might have something for you soon. We're working on something. Well, I'm not working on it personally. I say we as a team, right? There are very clever people on this. We hope to have a little tool for you because we do know the unions are making out like everyone's in support, but we have had a little bit of a whisper that some teachers are kicking off. So for those teachers that's kicking off, guys, we might have a little bit of ammo for you soon. We might be able to give you a bit of a grenade. So stay connected, guys. It's important we all stay connected, even if we're not visually connected. Do you know what I mean? We don't have to be liking each other's posts and sharing things. We just need to remain connected. Sometimes under the radar is better anyway, you know, but we need to stay connected. We all want the same thing here. We want a good education for our kids, a good working environment for you, and we just want it safe.
Yeah, definitely.
We've got the kids' education, for crying out loud.
That's right. Stacey, what are you actually up to for your part of the fight for against the sex education?
I'm basically trying to get awareness. Awareness is key for me right now because it's too late to a point for us. Awareness, trying to spread as much knowledge as I can. Good at hairdressers, I'll be telling hairdresser. Good at doctors, I'll be telling doctor. That's as much as I can do. I've contacted a few MPs. I've had a good response back off one lady. I was telling you the other day where I came. Miriam Case.
I've
got a meeting on Friday at 1:00 with Miriam, a phone call meeting. She wants to obviously know everything. She's very interested. I've had a couple of emails back from her. She really wants to know what's going off here. So fingers crossed something might come of that. But like I say, awareness for me up here.
What? Oh, she paused.
Yeah, I think she's frozen.
Oh, she's paused. Bless her. That's what kept happening to us yesterday, didn't it, Kim? When we were doing a live.
Yeah, there is one thing I would disagree on with Stacey when she says it's too late there. It's never too late.
No.
It's never too late. Yes, some children have been subjected to it, right? And there is absolutely nothing we can do to change that now, I know. But we can still protect other children. Yeah. It's not too late. It's never too late, guys. It's too late if we allow this to happen in Wales as well. Because if we allow this to happen in Wales as well, then yes, the whole of the UK is done. But we've still got this little gap here, this window of opportunity. We've got to smash it out.
Yeah.
We've got to smash it out. It's as simple as it's our kids, right? It doesn't get more serious than this. If I had my way, I'd be on a horse with a spear. And this is it, you know, like, I don't know why people aren't shouting, screaming, swearing, effing, blinding, like I was in the beginning kind of thing, you know. That's our mentality now. Things, if there was somebody at the end of the street and we knew somebody was harming our children, we'd be down there.
Yeah, we would.
Right? What's so different about this then? So because we ain't physically touching our children in front of us, we're not going to do anything about it. This is worse. This is far worse, right? And this is why we need to erupt now. We need to.
It is worse, Kim, because they're normalising it under a school setting. Now, I know for a fact that when my children were in primary, especially when they were in the younger years, what their teachers told them was gospel.
Yes.
I remember one day, my son come home, and I think he was in year 3. And the teacher had been teaching him about healthy eating. And he was like, my son now, he looks at his plate, goes, oh, Mum, there's no carbs on this plate. And he told me off for not having carbs, because he actually, even though I'm always into sort of, you know, feeding them healthy foods and that, and talking about healthy eating, because the teacher was talking about it, he really took it on board. So it just proves that, you know, they have a teacher-child relationship with them, and whatever the teacher tells them, whether it's to do with history, geography, maths, they believe them, because they're their teacher and they're telling them the right thing. So now we can have a load of teachers telling our little children that they are sexual from birth, because that is what they're telling them.
And doctors guess their gender on birth. Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, the latest one is they're not going to announce a gender until the teacher does.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is how mad our world is.
But we also know as well, going back to what Lucia said, with the kids thinking the teacher, or the teacher said gospel, the government report that's just come out, 85% of all primary school children believe in everything their teacher says.
Yeah.
85%.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
it's not like you know, we're speculating here. It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
It's not even about the opt-out anymore, really, because they're incorporating sex education into all different types of lessons right across the board. So it's not just about the opt-out. It's about the content of every single lesson which our kids are taught in school.
Well, they've tucked us up, haven't they? They've tucked us up in beauty. They've properly raveled us into this. And this is why it's going to need a massive response back, guys. You know, the only way to do this is if we all come together. Now, if this was somebody in Scotland on this live with you now, Phil, I'd be straight in our thing there, of course, with you all the way, guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whose children it is. They're our children. This is not even going to affect my kids. Not at all. Not in a slightest. But do you think I can actually? Do you think I'll be able to sit there and allow this to happen? I got a niece and nephew anyway. I got a niece and nephew. My nephew was in a school, right? That school filled with our head teacher.
Yeah.
That's what school went everything.
And I heard that phone call.
Yeah, you heard it.
Yeah. This is the one.
So my nephew was in a school with a teacher who knows this is based on child sex abuse. He knows that. He also knows, well, he also admitted keeping this from the parents on purpose. He admitted that. I also, at the aftermath of that phone call, we had parents, we were inundated with calls, parents calling us because that teacher had actually hidden incidents that happened in our school with children and a supply teacher. So I am not happy at all. I keep saying to my, you know, it's like little kids, and this is what I mean, kids are easy to toy with, do you know what I mean? I keep saying all the time, go and tell Mr. So-and-so, Auntie Kim will have him. Go and tell Mr. So-and-so. And he's like, you know, he's only just turned 4, but they're little, and he will one day. Auntie Kim's going to have him. Because they do, you know?
Yeah, they repeat everything, don't they?
I'm watching him.
So, what's happening Saturday then?
Ooh, we have our
Saturday. We don't know Todd Saturday. We got a demo, and it's just me and Lucia.
Yes.
No,
it'll be good.
No, I'm coming to film, so it's going to be 3 of us.
There you go. I think we've got a couple of volunteers as well. They're going to help out with sort of putting out the leaflets and all that. So it's all good. So yeah, we're going to be down the Senedd, which is Cardiff Bay, from 1 p.m. We're going to just do a little bit of speeches, but it's going to be more about a gathering, really, isn't it? A chance to speak with us. We're going to have a bit of music on as well, make a bit of noise.
Yeah, it's about raising awareness and just coming together, guys. It's about coming together. We don't get to speak to each other, you know, even like on Facebook, we haven't got time to message each other properly. So it's about us lot coming together as the adults of this country, networking, sharing information. That's what this is about, guys. Every third Saturday now of the month.
Yeah, I was going to say as well, it's not just about getting together, but it's actually showing, because we're going to be outside the Senedd, so we want to be showing that you're all in support of us, because that's what we need now. We need numbers. We need big crowds. We need to show that we're not standing for it.
we are representing the 5,000 people who signed that petition. So guys, you need to come and stand with us now because we've brought you this far. You need to push us over the threshold, We're not scared. We're not scared to get in the ring with them, but we need you guys to give us the foot up.
Absolutely. And if you can't make it for whatever reason, Phil will be filming live, no doubt. Perhaps one of us may have a live on as well. So please share it out, because if people can't make it, you share it out on your Facebook or, whatever platform you're on. So get all your friends and all your followers on your social media to see what it's all about. So we'd really appreciate that as well if you can't make it.
Let's make some noise.
Yes.
So it's not going to be a march. It's going to be a static outside the Welsh Parliament.
Yeah. Just a gathering, guys. It's a regular gathering where we can all meet, greet, come together. This is a personal battle, isn't it? We've got to make it personal,
Yeah.
We only, only becomes personal if we connect properly.
Yeah, we need to show Dripford that we actually mean business. I know you're taking them to court, taking the Welsh Parliament to court, but we do actually need the numbers now to be standing outside there week in, week out until the court case gets to court. And you're definitely going to need hundreds and hundreds and maybe thousands outside that court.
Guys, we need the whole of the UK. We're not just doing this for us, we're doing this for you as well. It's for us all. A domino effect, one in, all in, one out, all out. And if we can do it in this small country, guys, we can do it here. Everything here is smaller. Let's use that to our advantage.
Yeah,
exactly.
I think he's probably bricking it at the moment because of all the publicity you've had in the last 2 weeks in newspapers, Jeremy Vine show, radio stations. So he needs to be bricking it because it's only going to get louder.
Yeah.
People are going to get louder. The media are going to get onto this.
Well, they already are. I'm actually quite surprised. Every time I click onto, one of our social media, there's like something else where someone, not even like we've had lots of journalists and lots of papers writing about our story about us taking the Welsh Government to court, but even like bloggers, they mention us because they're talking about this horrendous sex education that is coming in the schools, and they mention us. The Welsh are not standing for it. They're taking the government to court. So, even just, your influencers, your bloggers, it is getting out there, and it's going to get out there even more so, especially when we get into that court, because, that's when the real fun begins. Yeah,
definitely. We're going to keep it to an hour, but we'll keep on pushing for Saturday. I'll keep on pushing it on my sites every day. I'll probably do another live on Friday night or something, and hopefully we can get the numbers there because we do need the numbers, and it's simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, can I just remind everyone to subscribe to our website? That's www.publicchildprotectionwales.org. So it's just our name, basically.
Yes,
.org.
and keep the traffic coming to our website because we are now, we're not just top of the Google search, we're the entire page.
No, we
are. We really, really are. We're above the Children's Commissioner. We're above quite a few big organisations. But when I looked the other day, I said to Rachel, Rach, we're third on the list. She come back, she said, oh, no, we're not. We're top. I went on, I was like, whoa. I was like, we're all over there. And that's because
we're dominating the first page of Google.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it shows your compassion, and it shows it's about spreading awareness. And if you can do that on a Google search, well, there you go, girls. You've got a good fighting chance. I think.
I was well impressed with that. It happened like in the matter of hours. I was like, great, you ever seen this? And then she was like, whoa, have you seen it? And then I was like, we were like, yes. Boom, 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 boom.
It looks like Lucia is frozen as well.
But at least she's happy frozen.
Yeah, look at her. Yeah, so thank you for coming on again, Kim. It's been amazing as ever.
No worries, like raced up on motorway 45 miles an hour for that.
Thank you very much.
45 miles an hour in a torrential downpour.
That's fine. I'm sure I'll see you Saturday.
Better have. Hwyl fawr.
Yeah, good night, Kim.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. I'd like to thank, obviously, Lucia as well, and Stacey for coming on as well. Stacey had a bit of problem with her Wi-Fi, and Lucia's only managed to last the whole show with the Wi-Fi. So, yeah, folks. So I'm going to put that banner back up for a minute. Let's see if I can find it. So here we go, folks. Hang on a minute. Let's do this properly. So it's the third Saturday of every month, folks. It's at 1 p.m. outside the Senate, which is the Welsh Parliament, Pierhead Street, Cardiff Bay, folks. The weather is going to be good, so if you want to bring a picnic along, you're most welcome to, folks. We can have a bit of a picnic on at the bay, so it should be a good day, folks. There's not a lot more I can say on the matter except for please come along. It's your children you're fighting for your children, you're fighting for your grandchildren, and this is the only way we're going to do it is by taking that Welsh Government to court and stopping sex education in our classrooms. And then it will be a knock-on effect for the whole world. It's in 52 countries across the world. If we can be the first, Wales, a small country, then we can win this, folks. We can actually set the ball rolling for every other country across the world. So, folks, I'm going to finish my show as normal. And if you're there on Saturday, please come and say hello. And it'll be brilliant. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for sharing. Thanks to my admin as well. Brilliant as ever. And I'll see you all Saturday on my live. I might actually be going to London Friday. I'm not 100% sure. That is something different. That's for Jamie Oliver. I might be going to cover that. I haven't decided yet. It's about food in schools. And where Boris is backtracked. So I might be going. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll see. So it's a good night from me. And I'm going to play play Darren Purcell's song again. And I'll see you Saturday. Good night, all.
Okay, picking it up here in Wilmington, North Carolina, right at the Intercoastal. We're in one of these bands.
So that's Mike Seidel in Wilmington, North Carolina. But as he races and fights to win Friday, check out the two guys who seem to walk right by him in the background there, no trouble at all. The video has been shared more than 1 million times on social media. Now let's go.
Cruising, losing, looking for some news and losing it's amusing. Other people choosing the topics I can view and the subjects I can chew on, the facts that I can spew and the news they put their slew on. Twisty, turny, wriggly, wormy, squealy, squirmy news. Psychopathic journalists deceiving with their views. Tightening like a tourniquet, they're aiming to confuse. Nightly negative narratives narrating you the blues. Blues and twos, new taboos, the pasta's all sold out. The hurricane's incoming and the world is dying out. Asteroids, blasteroids, steroids in their tails. The windiest ever windy gales are blowing in the dales. The sea levels are rising at a super duper rate. 247 365, the caliphate's your fate. Tidal waves are waving like the death rays from the sun. Duck and cover, stand your ground, there's nowhere else to run.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, it's talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy.
Writing, fighting to publish stuff exciting. Losing it's amusing. Other people choosing the posts that I can post and the documents I can read from, the info I can feed from, the facts the checkers get wrong. Sleazy, slimy, geeky, grimy, blackout soulless tech, concluding with a clickety-click what's wrong and what's correct. Politically encouraged with protection from the law. They're getting pretty ruthless now, they're panicking for sure. Scrubbing out the info like a scrubber in a tub, deleting the derogatory of the members in their club. Documents and studies disappear without a trace. Psychopathic moral unless they're doing it in your face. The info is raising at a super duper rate. Breach community standards, your account will feel a fate. Pull post a funny meme means that you hate and are extreme. No chance of an appeal cause you're white and so supreme. Doctors, nurses, scientists and servants, real boys made from wood, covering for the perverts, defining definitions that will put you in a spin. Anything of interest gets filed in recycle bin. Algorithms algorizing the content that you post, collecting information, long-term storage with a host. Five Eyes keeping eyes on you, they're eyeing up your speech, using legal loopholes to conduct a data breach, and qualified assessors banning stuff they do not like. Since early 2020 this has reached a massive spike. You're swimming in a dirty swamp, the swamp is full of pike. Post a touchy subject and receive a community strike. Unelected unofficials making up the rules, billion-dollar corporations governing the schools, satanic worship dictators who distribute the tools, pervy public servants act like Hitler with the Jews.